Never underestimate the power you give yourself by believing in you. I realize that work ethic equals results. You can get whatever you want as long as you help enough people get what they want.
Hey guys, welcome. The Bo Show is back by popular demand, and we are so excited. We're launching the brand new Mastermind series, and we're going to be interviewing some of the most incredible, inspirational, and motivational people on the planet. And today I have someone who I hold very close to my heart, because not only have they changed my life, they have changed the lives of dozens of people I've known, and then dozens of other people I've met online, and literally I've built a community of people who this man has literally transformed them. So today, my guest is the phenomenal WWE Hall of Famer, DDPY founder, Diamond Dallas Page. How are you, Dallas?
Bo, it's good to be on here, man. It's good to be on your show, man. To be in a mastermind series with the people that you have in your series is pretty amazing. So I'm honored and humbled to be a part of it.
What I love to do is use the power we have to spread good, to inspire people to change their lives. And you are someone who I believe has done phenomenal and is known by millions around the world. But I want even more people to know not just about your wrestling, not just about your DDPY, but you as a person, your attitude, why you do what you do, because that has become your fuel for your success. And you are a against the grain success story. You had everything against you and you succeeded. For instance, if you guys don't know, Dallas became a professional wrestler at WCW at the age of 35. That's when most people retire. And
Right.
I'm not even 35. That's like me deciding now I'm going to go in the ring and take on Roman Reigns next year. But he did it. He became the World Heavyweight Champion 3 times. He was inducted into Hall of Fame. But what's astounding is he used his platform and he deployed something which I think is the most important thing in business. He deployed empathy and realized there were people around him who required the skills that he had acquired. So Dallas blew out his back, and he's going to tell you more about this, but through a combination of calisthenics, body weight, and yoga, bear with us, he transformed his entire life. And now he teaches this. It's one of the most successful workout programs in the world. There are literally millions of people who owe their mobility and their happiness to this man. And what we do on here is, because this is YouTube, we're going to be talking about how one of Dallas's videos was one of the first ever viral videos that launched his company, the thinking behind it, how it changed, the mistakes they made, but also what they did right. But most importantly, we're going to hear about someone whose most important thing is to never give up. And that's why we're so blessed to have you here, Dallas. So thank you for being here.
Oh, it's my pleasure, buddy.
So my first question, which I will dive into, is why do you do what you do?
You know, I love to watch inspirational videos, and I've been listening to inspirational speakers since I was a kid. And I can remember Zig Ziglar. And he didn't say it like this, but I always take what someone says and I make it my own. I don't care what it is. I'm going to make it, my own way that I think it sounds like. And what I took away from that was, you can get whatever you want as long as you help enough people get what they want. And I heard him say that, or a version of that, at 22 years old. And it just became a part of my mantra. I tell people all the time who are depressed and, craziness that's going on in not our country, but the world right now, but really crazy in our country right now. If you want to try to help deal with a depression, help somebody, help anybody. I don't care what it is, because that action of helping someone else makes them feel so good that they're going to give that feeling back to you, and you feel much better about yourself. So even as a nightclub owner, back before I ever started professional wrestling, we would do the Toys for Tots drive, and we would do different charity things. And again, giving back to the greater good made me feel really awesome. I shared a lot of my journey, which it never should have happened. You know, Jim Ross called me the greatest overachiever ever. You know, I was the long shot of all time. When you start wrestling at 35, now here's what you have to understand about wrestling. I don't want to spoil this for anybody, but wrestling is predetermined. In other words, the writers who write the storylines write who's going to win and not, who's not going to win. Well, at 35, going from a manager to a wrestler, no one believed in me. Michael P.S. Hayes, who I was managing at the time, when I told him I was going to start going to train to wrestle, because they wouldn't let me manage anymore, mainly because I was too over the top with the hair and the rap and the bling and the diamond dolls. And I was taking too much attention away from the wrestler. But if I was wrestling, that would be a good thing. So I thought I had 7 months left on my contract. I'm going to go down here and I'm going to learn how to wrestle. Michael P.S. Hayes fell down on his back laughing. I mean, like, buckled him. Like, it was such a ridiculous statement to him. And looking back, I guess he had a point. Imagine trying out for the Lakers or the Dallas Cowboys or the Yankees at 35 and a half. Not a chance. But in professional wrestling, it's different. And being a character, I'd already had some groundwork at that. But they were just going to use me as a buffer to get other wrestlers over. And something I learned very early on as a kid, when I was 12 years old, I got hit by a car. I walked out in front of it. It was my fault. My knee hit my right knee. My face bounced off the hood, and I flew 42 feet from the point of impact. At 12 years old, I was like, I wouldn't say a prodigy, but I was incredible at football, Pee Wee football, Pop Warner football, and hockey. And that took it all away. They wouldn't let me play because they were combat sports. And they let me play basketball, which I sucked at. And the bottom line is I didn't make the team in 7th grade because I hated it. I was playing football. I didn't need basketball. 8th grade, I made the team, but I sat on the bench, and I never sat on the bench. That summer, I swore that would never happen to me again, and swore I really learned about work ethic. And I went to the park that summer every single day. I played from 5 to 7, 8 hours a day, every day. And my freshman year, I started. We went undefeated. By my sophomore year, I was starting varsity. I realized that work ethic equals results. And that's what people didn't know about me when I decided to become a wrestler at 35. I was going to outwork everyone. I was going to be the first to come, the last to leave. And it was going to take time, but I was going to make one believer at a time. And it took me till I was 40, but the second half of 40 years old, boom, my career took off like a rocket. By the time, that was 96. 97 and 98, I'd headlined 12 or 13 either main event pay-per-views or semi-main event pay-per-views from obscurity. And people couldn't understand, because you have to go back to understanding that someone decides whether you win or lose. And in the beginning, I couldn't make anybody believe it. But I developed what we call the end of a match is your finish move. Like Jake the Snake Roberts had the greatest finishing maneuver of the 80s. It was the DDT. Jake was phenomenal on the mic, in the ring, and had a finish. I was phenomenal on the mic when given the opportunity. My ring work was getting better, but when it came to my finish, I developed a finish that Randy Orton uses today, the RKO. Before it was the RKO, it was the Diamond Cutter. And it exploded buildings, meaning like when I would hit that finish out of nowhere, it blew people, it like exploded them out of their seats. And what I did was I created a sign, which was the Diamond Cutter sign. So even though when they let me beat people, they were nobodies. And this applies to everything. No matter who you work with, no matter who you're around, if you make them look better, if you make them look the best they've ever been, that makes you look incredible. And I would go out there and work wrestling matches with guys that weren't as good as me and were on the bottom of the barrel, but I'd go out there and make them look like Ric Flair. I would give him some kind of spot in a match and, oh my God, he's going to beat him. He's going to beat him because I'm a bad guy at the time. And everybody wants to see the bad guy lose. And so I would finally like slip on a banana peel and then boom, 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 boom. And then the crowd would be up and then he'd go to do something to me and I'd turn in a diamond cutter. And whoa, in the beginning it shut people down, but then they started to pop, pop, pop to where, yeah, there's a YouTube up called Diamond Cutters on Everyone. You can see how the diamond cutter explodes with people as you move through it. But when I would hit my finish, and we had 20,000 people in the arenas at that time, the whole left side of the building would throw up the diamond cutter. Now, I'm still a bad guy. I'm not a good guy. But the people they wanted to cheer for, they wanted to chant DDP. And it was because when I walk out of my entrance and throw this over my head, 1,000 people started to do it, then 5,000, and then 20,000. And they couldn't deny me. And I would not be denied. My work ethic would shine through. And what I really found, and this is important in life, my real first name before I changed it to Dallas Page was Page Joseph Falkenberg. And what I found as my career was starting to build a little bit of momentum, that everyone started putting over my work ethic and just how diligently I would not only work in the ring, but before and after and studying films, almost like a Peyton, one of those, or Tom Brady. Like these guys study. That's what I did. And other wrestlers started talking about it in interviews. And I realized once Page Joseph Falkenberg stopped trying to be this bigger than life, over the top wrestling persona, Diamond Dallas Page, and Diamond Dallas Page started to take on the characteristics of Page Joseph Falkenberg, man, my career took off like a rocket. So work ethic. Inside my Hall of Fame ring, the inscription says, work ethic equals dreams, exclamation point, DDP.
That's powerful, because I know personally you're right, because my mantra when I had nothing was, you may be smarter than me, you may be bigger than me, you may be stronger, but you will never outwork me, ever. I will die before you outwork me. And I took that work ethic all the way with me, and now I'm doing what I do. But the cool thing is, just because you've got to a place of comfort doesn't mean you take your foot off the gas. And I still pride myself on my work ethic, and I see that you're the same. And so I think a really valuable 100%. A valuable lesson there is when it's the thing you said about one person at a time. And so many people some people are trying to make it big, which is just nonsense. But people who actually want to do it because they love it,
right?
That's how you do it. And if you do have a dream and it's in here, and you want to just project it to the world, if the world's not listening, guys, just rewind this entire bit and just listen to what Dallas said again. One person at a time would throw up the diamond cutter. Just one more, and then two. And literally you got 20,000, and then that's over 10 years. So
hey, let me tell you something here, Bo, too. The only reason it really got over was because I did the study work on the back end. Like I would throw it up and then I'd bring it right down. And I was looking, I didn't see anybody do it. And then one day, because I filmed every single match, I'm the first guy to ever ice his body in professional wrestling. I'd ice my knees and my back before, maybe for hours after a match. And people go like, what are you doing? What are you doing? I'm holding back the hands of time. I'm taking down inflammation. But I filmed every single match, and the guys would laugh at me and bust my chops. And look on how many matches are up on YouTube today. There's millions from all over the world, from Japan, Mexico, and the UK, and Canada. I mean, Australia. Guys who are wrestling, their videos are everywhere. I was filming every match back then, and one day, after I'd been sitting there and watching, the crowd, and when I did this, I saw people starting to do this in their seats, but I'd already brought it down. And I went, I didn't leave it there long enough. So when I finally got to, I would throw it up over my head high, and I literally would count to myself, 3, 2, 1, bang. That gave time for people to not just throw it up, but to stand up with me. So it's so important to understand you never know who's watching. Like, you never know who's listening and watching what you're doing. I often tell people it's not about who you know or who knows you. It's about who's willing to say they know you. Who's willing to pick up the phone and say, listen, bro, you got to use Bo, because he's got this thing he's doing. He's going to make it up on Netflix. And I'm telling you, you want to do this interview with him because he's got great heart. He's super into what he's doing. He loves what he's doing. And he's going to get out the best in you. Like, that's what it takes. Who's willing to put their name on the line for you? And what would happen for me in wrestling is it started with Jake the Snake Roberts. And I could do a 2-hour podcast just on me and Jake, maybe 5-hour podcast. But he was the first one, the guy that I looked up to the most as a wrestler, who could talk, who could work, who just had all of it. And when he told me in 1993 that I was going to be one of the biggest names in the business, it was the beginning of me starting to believe it. I always tell people, never underestimate the power you give someone by believing in them. I brought that up when I inducted Jake into the Hall of Fame on my 58th birthday in New Orleans, I believe it was. I inducted him into the Hall of Fame, and I had this amazing speech written. And I always believe in preparation and improvisation. And at some point I said that, right at a point I'd never said it before. I said, never underestimate the power you give someone by believing in them. More importantly, never underestimate the power you give yourself by believing in you. Because there's only one person I had to believe in you, Bo. That was you. And you proved yourself right.
I think it's fate, because Evan Carmichael, who's on this channel, he has something called his one word. And it's basically a word that basically encapsulates everything in their life. And it's their North Star. And Evan's word, in which he's garnered millions of followers out of and changed their lives, is the word believe. He believes that you should
100%.
believe in yourself. I don't know which way to go, because there's so much gold here. I'm so excited speaking to you, because I'm so happy. I'm hoping this will be one of those things that we put online, and there's just so much gold that you're going to have to keep going back and come forward. But I'm going to take the time to dig this gold right now. And two things you just touched on were for instance, when you were cultivating the diamond cutter and you were putting it down too early, because you did the extra work and you did the kind of your due diligence. 99.99% of people would have done it and then said, well, my strategy for whatever I'm doing isn't working, so I'm going to change. But you took a different path, being like, wait, let's just dive a little deeper. And it can sometimes be painful when you're looking and going, okay, why am I failing? And I think a lot of people have fear of failure. I'm addicted to looking at where I'm messing up, because I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to find something great. So a really valuable lesson, guys, here, which Dallas has just shown, is you might still be doing the right thing. You just might need that 1% adjustment. Tony Robbins has a great line about if you set two ships off from Ireland on the same path, but 1 degree difference, one's going to end up in South America and the other's going to end up in Canada. There's 1 degree difference.
Right.
Isn't that incredible? And so you took that change and changed your finisher, the diamond cutter, by 1%, and it changed your life. But another thing that's I'd love for people to know about is, I understand you've got incredible work ethic and you work harder than anyone and you're going to go and get it. Authentically and honestly, what were those times like when it wasn't quite going right and you questioned yourself? What was the conversation?
Well, you know, I'm going to share this with you when we get off the phone, get off this interview. I want to send you my newest documentary. You know, my first documentary was The Resurrection of Jake the Snake, which was rave reviews. The second one that'll be out this year, it's called Relentless. And it's from me blowing out my back and telling me my career's over at 42, right when I just signed a multi-million-dollar 3-year deal. And now I've ruptured my L4 and L5 so badly that 3 spine specialists are telling my career is over. And at that point, man, you know, it tore me down. It tore me down. I'll tell you the first time, which was the wrestling time. No one believed in me until Jake. And then after that, the guy who made me, without Dusty Rhodes, there is no Diamond Dallas Page. I got Dusty to believe in me. And then I got Hulk Hogan to believe in me. None of this that I brought to them and asked them. They came to me and said this. And when Hulk said it to me, it was in 1994. And I got to be honest, man, there was times where I was thinking, this isn't working. You know, I got to get my release. I got to go to the WWF at the time, now WWE. There's no one who, you know, is making anything happen here. No one's believing in me to give me the opportunity. And Hulk, I was on a tour with him in Germany. I'm the first match. I'm the curtain jerker. I'm at the bottom of the card. And when I walked through the curtain after day 5, we got 20 days on the road. We're going to wrestle 17 of them. We went 5 days in a row. I come through the curtain. Hulk grabs me, pulls me over. He says to me, "How are you doing it?" I'm like, "Am I doing what, Hulk?" He goes, "How are you getting so much better?" I go, "Wow, thanks, bro." I go, and then he answers the question for me. He goes, "This is what they're doing with you, right? Because I hardly ever see you on TV. But when I do see you on TV, you've got some new move, you pop up, you get the people involved." He says, "So this is what they're doing with you. They're putting you on the road so you can learn your craft." And I said, "Well, Hulk, no. I haven't been on the road in 4 months. The only reason I'm on the road right now is because my last real name, before I change it, was Falkenberg. And the Krauts love their Germans. And I got a smoking hot wife that walks me to the ring." I said, "That's the only reason I'm on the card." He goes, "Well, how the hell are you doing it? If you're not training, you know, you're not learning your craft." I said, "Well, I am learning my craft. I'd rather be on the road, but I go to the power plant every day and I've learned to teach the younger guys, because every day I need to be in the ring. I need to be the first one there. I need to be the last one to leave." I said, "I'm teaching the young guys. And what I figured out is the more you teach someone, and this applies to everything, the more you teach someone, the more you learn. The more you learn, the better you get." And obviously, you know, for you to come up to me, Hope, and he said, "Whatever it is, I don't care whatever," because he didn't really understand that, because he came up differently than I did. There was just all these territories when he came up, that wrestling was all over the world. And before WWF swallowed everything up. And he said, "Whatever you're doing, you need to keep doing it." He goes, "Because it's not this year or next year or the year after, but somewhere down the line, you have the ability to draw big money with me." And he walked away. And I thought, wow, did Hulk Hogan just say that to me? That he watched my matches and I'm at the bottom of the card? Did he say that we could really draw money together? I started to manifest that daily. It became another part of the mantra. I tell everybody, just don't think it, ink it. Like, write it down, burn it into your brain. And 4 years later, now, I don't know if it's over in your country, but right now in our country, Michael Jordan's Bulls, the Chicago Bulls, The Last Dance.
Great
It's
documentary.
the biggest. It's all over I think it's all over the world. It's one of probably the best documentaries ever. But the entire documentary is about 1998. And there hits a point in the documentary where they talk about Rodman not showing up to practice in the playoff finals. And Rodman shows up with Hulk Hogan as I'm cutting an interview and hit me with the chairs. They show that on I got a cameo, towards the end of episode 10, but I'm the reason why he wasn't at practice. Really, Hulk was the reason why. But it was about to shoot the angle, the beginning of the angle with me and, later would be Malone. So they shoot the angle, hit me with the chairs, makes ESPN, the whole thing. And later, after the series is over, Rodman and Hogan are on the Tonight Show, and me and Malone come in from the wings, throw down the chairs, and shoot our angle on the Tonight Show. Not the wrestling show, the Tonight Show. And it exploded. I mean, like you said, I have my goals, and as lofty as they are, I somehow continue to hit them. I always tell people, don't just shoot, don't be afraid to shoot for the stars. Because a lot of times, if you put the work in, now those are the very important words, if you put the work in, those 6 words, if you continue to put the work in, if you don't quit, if you believe in yourself, at some point, you might hit a little bit under the goal, or to the left, or to the right. A lot of times, in this scenario exactly, I shot so far past that goal that I would never have even believed it if I would have thought about it in the beginning. But Hulk said we could draw huge money together. That tag team match, and Hulk and I drew a lot of money together, but that first tag team match, we were the second highest grossing pay-per-view in the history of WCW, and one of the top 10 biggest drawing cards of all time in all of wrestling. And again, I go back to manifesting that dream to make it a reality, but putting the work in and never stop believing. That's the biggest thing. So, but over that period, I second-guessed myself, like with DDP Yoga. And a lot of people have been really kind of blown away the second act that I've been able to have. But the second act with my whole DDPY program is because we've put together such an amazing team. I didn't do any of this by myself. A lot of stuff I have done to inspire people and that work with them, and that's the part I do. I do the part like making the cake, and then my business partner Steve Yu comes in, and then he tells the story, because it's being able to tell the story is where you take the magic. And a great example, we were talking about Arthur Borman earlier, who's the guy who really put what I was doing on the map. And Steve put all the, the bells and whistles in there that made you connect to that video, that made you care, that made you want to share it with someone else. And that's the magic. And when it started to go viral, and I didn't even know what viral meant in 2012, be honest. Steve calls me up and he said, I just text you something, read it. And I read on the text, it says, it's a tweet, and it says, "Stop what you're doing right now and witness real magic." It was from David Copperfield. That's when I'm getting on a plane and flying to Nashville from LA. I get to Nashville, Steve sends me another tweet. And this one says, "You want to be inspired? This is one of the most inspiring videos I've ever seen. Starts out slow, well worth the wait. Tony Robbins." I was like, wow. You know, I always tell people that I am the new Jack LaLanne meets Tony Robbins meets straight Richard Simmons.
See, I know a little more about the Arthur Borman story video, and I think this is going to be so important to share with everyone, that the reason the Arthur Borman video is so successful is it's a case of authentic marketing. So you were talking about the message, and correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't there a video before that had a lot more DDP yoga, or I think it's YRG at the time, logo?
Yes.
So by you taking that out and focusing on the story, you actually created empathy, compassion, and connectivity with an audience you didn't even know you had, and that exploded. Is that correct?
Yeah, and it was Steve. It was Steve who he redid the video, and he sent it to me, and I was like, wow, this is powerful. I call him up. I go, bro, because by the time we changed the company from YRG to DDP Yoga, I said, you didn't put DDP Yoga in there. He goes, yeah. He goes, but, you know, I read this book, and he only actually read the first 4 or 5 chapters, and it was how to get a video to go viral. And number one thing, it cannot be an ad. You know, it cannot be an ad. Now, if it's a funny ad, that's different, you know, but people will, you know, they won't share it if they feel it's an ad. And he goes, so do you want to do a commercial, or do you want to inspire people? I said, well, let's inspire people. And I hung up the phone, and I watched it a couple of more times. I call him back. I go, bro, you called me a yogi in this. I don't want to be, I'm the anti-yogi, you know? And he's like, hey, yeah, how many yoga studios are going to put this up on their wall? You still do a form of yoga. It's a form of yoga for people who wouldn't be caught dead doing yoga, but it's still like you use a lot of yoga stuff. So do you want to have that in there? Or, you know, I said, okay. And what I learned, and me and him laugh about it today, because I still have things that I want to do my way. And when I really want to focus on that, we normally hit pretty good. But most times I have found that I let him tell the story. So if it gets to me not saying exactly the way we need it, because it's got to be short little clips, I'll just let him direct me, because we both speak from the heart. You know, we say what we really feel. Now I say it so people will understand it. And every time it's magic. And, you know, we've been so blessed. You know, we were on Shark Tank years ago, and 5 years ago, 6 years ago. And Mr. Wonderful, back then there was no really online workouts. We were getting ready. We had already started to do the back end work for our app. And there was really none of that back then. And Mr. Wonderful said, you know, it's really hard today, you know, to be a fitness company that makes money, like Beachbody, who does, you know, from P90X to Insanity to, you know, whatever. They've got a million different workouts that they sell and do. They're a huge company. And then Gaiam, who's a yoga company, they're a huge company. But most of the time, people who develop DVDs like we originally started with, today it's everything from cooking shows to motivation, motivational Mondays, like everything, to inspire people to keep themselves going and be able to track their from their size, their pictures, the weight, the measurements. It's all that stuff. So it makes them, whoa, I can keep growing from this and stay inspired. But back then, it was just DVDs. And he said, you could fill the Superdome with all the DVDs that athletes and celebrities have done who never could make anything go. how are you guys making the money? And Steve said, we inspire people. And Wonderful went, yeah, that's great. That's great. But how do you make the money? I said, bro, we inspire people. That's what we do. And, you know, that's the magic to me.
I'm so lucky, man. I interview and I connect and I have dinner and with so many people in this industry of trying to make people better. And I'm lucky that I know a lot of the best. However, there are a lot of people who the inspiration part is their secondary goal, and it's tragic to see. And they have like a bright flame, but they burn out really fast. So I think part of your longevity is that you actually care. And what I find amazing, so if Arthur Boorman was 2012, I was looking at your evolution going, okay, so yeah, most people, they're always typing in, okay, I want 2020, I want 2019. I don't care about 2012. And what I found amazing was you have an actually more successful video now by Vance Hines. What's amazing about him is he has the viral video aspect, but through connectivity, through your Facebook groups and everything, he is an active member promoting the joy that you've given him and the power you've empowered him with. So therefore, people feel connected to you on a deeper level because they're connecting with the result. And I think in this day and age, it really shows that community is one of the best ways to build a movement and to build business, but you got to do it from the heart. So guys, if you're doing something because you think you're going to get rich, if you're doing it because you think you're going to get laid, don't do it. If you want to get laid, do DDPY. It'll work. But it's got to come from the heart. And I know it changed my life. And that's why I bring these masters on here. So they can, like a sledgehammer, crack you in the skull with that beautiful piece of message saying, do it because you love it. And as you've seen here, guys, if you check out, I'm going to link the Arthur Boorman video in the actual description of this, so you can see what an actual transformation is. And then you're going to go into a bit of a YouTube rabbit hole because you're going to click the next one and the next one. And before you know it, for 4 hours, you're going to be throwing diamond cutters around your living room. Your parents are going to be mad at you.
It's funny because I always tell people, find something you love to do and then figure out a way to make money in it. Now, in this movie Relentless that Steve is the executive producer with me on, in this movie, this documentary, like we get into like the downs, like, cause it wasn't all ups. Like it was only ups at little peaks, and then it would go back down where you got to believe in yourself. And again, I loved what I was doing, and I wouldn't take anybody else's money but my own. And I had $548,000 in this company before I made a dime. And that was 8 years long before I made a dime, and actually took any money for doing anything. And along the way, when I would hit that wall, and I'd be like, God, did I just piss away 200, 300, 400,000 plus dollars? And then by that time I had Arthur's video, and I just played again. And it's the one that I edited with his son. And it was pretty good. It wasn't what Steve did, but it was pretty good. The bottom line is that I would see it, and then I'd get like an email from someone. I have no idea how they got my email. Today it's on Twitter and Instagram and, and Facebook and all that, so people can send me anything. But I'd get some letter from someone thanking me for creating a program that someone who is an invalid, who is broken down, can do, to a workout that is the psycho extreme stuff. So literally it goes to everyone that can do the program at their own level. DDPY meets you where you are. And I would get that, and man, that would like choke me up. And then I'd get on the mat, and then I'd have a workout, and boom, I'd be charged and ready to go again. Because one of the things people don't understand, all you got to do is get on the mat, or walk around your block, do something that that's where you have to use energy, lift weights, whatever it is, because exercise helps reduce stress. And then once you get refocused on what you believe in, then use that, and then boom, you keep on going. That's what our movie Relentless is all about.
You know what? Like, we can talk for hours, and I'm sure that in the future we will, because I would love an entire interview with you just about the importance of taking care of your physical body to become successful in whatever you do in life. Because I think some people eat junk, they work themselves into the ground, and they classify themselves as busy, and that they don't have the time to work out as a badge of honor, which I think is just horrible. But
it is.
That's another one. But before we go to our final question, something I want to do, because I want to give back, because not only have you changed my life with your fitness, because I know most of the Beachbody people personally, and I'm very lucky to. I've actually spoken in the United States on a motivational tour with some of them. But your app, your routine, the accessibility and the compassion that you have, even though it's pre-recorded and it's archived, compassion bleeds through it. And no matter who you are, it can change your life. And I can promise you, dozens of people I know have been buying it left, right, and center, not just to say, look, I've got the app. It's making a difference in their lives. They're losing weight. They're more flexible. They're out of pain. So what I want to do is, in the comments of this video, tell me what you took away from this interview, and I will pick one of you, and I'm going to buy you an entire year's subscription to DDPY, and it's on me, because I want you to experience this incredible magic. And I think it's so important, the connection between health and fitness and the success of your life, that if I can just be a small push in the direction for the right person, that's what I want to give back. So for the last question, which I normally end with, is similar to what Evan said. We all have a word. Evan's word is believe. He wants to make people believe. He believes in himself. The belief mindset is what creates miracles. For me, my one word is incredible. I want an incredible life surrounded by incredible people. I do incredible things, and I do not accept anything less than incredible. Do you have a word? It might be the thing on your shirt right now. Do you have a word that you would say encapsulates your being, that would be your North Star?
Relentless. Like, you can't, relentless says it all. Never give up. Believe it encompasses from never giving up to believe in yourself to put the work in. Relentless says so many things to me. To come up with that title for it, Steve and I went back and forth. Like, what is the most powerful thing that we can say that will give what this documentary is all about? And it was relentless. And I think that when you are relentless, you understand that to do it, you can't give up. Because you're relentless, you know that you got to put the work in. I just got to keep you. I got to stay positive. I've got to be unstoppable. To me, they're all connected together. And one of the things you said earlier, you said about the community that we've built. One of the things we have that is completely organic. And it was a buddy of mine who started it. I became a buddy of mine because he did my program. And his name is, we call him the Boston bad boy, Chris. And Chris Gabriano. He had started originally. And then at some point, he went off to do something else, and he gave it to a couple of other guys. And one is a guy who became an instructor in Canada. And it's DDP Yoga, one word. It's on Facebook. It's for members. There's like 47,000 people on it that are the most active group of people that I've ever seen, all helping each other. Like, there is a no judge. Like, once in a while, because it's the internet, someone will come in there and, have to spout some negative stuff. And eventually it'll get to me. And if it does, I go right to them. And I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Like, that's not what